Hello everyone, it's Axel from SEGGER. In this video I want to talk about the switch object in AppWizard. And switches are definitely great in any GUI to turn things on and off. And with AppWizard you can make some really cool switches. If you want to add a switch to your own GUI, all you need to do is go over here and find the switch object and click on it, and it will be placed in your editor, and then you can move it around and position it where you need the switch to go. We can use the handy play mode in AppWizard to see how that switch works, and this is just the standard look and feel of the switch that you're getting in AppWizard, and we will be customizing that later on. So over here we have all the properties associated with our switch. You have the ID that you can change to whatever you need it to be. You have the position, the anchor point, and most importantly, the bitmaps with which you can customize your switch. These are the default bitmaps that you get when you just bring in the switch into your GUI. But we can give this a completely different look and feel. For example, if we want to make this one of these analog switches, we can pick this one here for the on position and pick this one for the off position. And we won't be needing a thumb in this case. So all we need to do is size it correctly. And then we have a completely different switch for our GUI. So what I want to do next is make the switch actually turn something on and off. Currently, I have the slider in my GUI that gives me values between 0 and 100, and currently it is always working. I would like to use that switch here to turn on and off the ability to move that slider. Basically, if the switch is off, the slider should be locked. And in order to do that, I will add an interaction that says when my switch is set, then I want my slider to be enabled. So the enabled state should be on. And on the opposite side, if my switch is cleared, then I would like to set that enable of my slider to off. And we can see how that works using our play mode. So I can set my switch and the slider will be working. And if I switch it off, then now it's locked and I cannot move it anymore because the interaction disabled the slider. Let's see what other properties we have. We can actually set a text onto the switch, for example, to indicate on and off. So we could do one text for on and one text for off, and maybe do that in white. And now we will have the state of our switch on the switch itself. Another thing you can do is set the period, which is essentially the time between the switch toggling from on to off or off to on position. So if a period of 0, that means it's essentially instantaneous from on to off, from off to on. If you'd like to have some kind of a transition time, you can put in a value in milliseconds, for example 100. And now we have some kind of a short transition period from on to the off and back position. Of course, there's a lot of other things you can do with your switch. So here are all the signals that a switch can emit. And then here's all the actions that you can take when your switch emits that signal. And you can find the description of those in the user manual for AppWizard. If you want to pick up the position of your switch in your user code, you could use these interactions. And you could add some user code to these slot routines here. So this is the slot routine that gets called when the switch gets set. And this is the slot routine that gets called when the switch is cleared. You could add that user code directly in AppWizard, or you can put that in your favorite IDE. So in a nutshell, this is what I wanted to show you about switches in AppWizard. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please check out our other videos on AppWizard. Thanks for watching.